It means for me personally, a long, hard road of working hard, of playing bars and honky tonks to get to the point where I get to step on the largest stage in America with country music fans. I said this probably 5 minutes ago. These people aren't here to party for 3 days in a field. They're here to hear country music. And to be on this lineup, especially for the 50th anniversary, for me personally, it's. I look back on all the years of working hard and never giving up, and saying, you know what, someday I'm going to be able to play my brand of country music that sounds more traditional. It's got a little cowboy in it on a very large stage. So it's an incredible thing. We're going to try to burn this place to the ground tonight. No insurance is involved in that, by the way.
Yeah, I feel really lucky to be hosting with both of them. Just hanging. I mean, a lot of hosting is just spending time together. Obviously, we have a lot of work to do on TV and out there, but we're just, it's been the lead up to this has been a lot of time together in the room, and I like being around them both. They're just great people, great artists. I have tremendous respect for them. They're both very funny in completely different ways, and they're just good friends. So I had a great time with Elle last year. She's up for any sort of I love good bits, and she's good at good gags. And Lainey is, it's fun to be around an artist like Lainey, who's been coming here since she was 14. She's just a huge fan of the CMA Fest, and she's kind of on a rocket ship right now. It's fun to be around those younger artists that are just blowing up like that, and her energy is contagious as well. So I feel very lucky. It feels very easy to be hosting when I got such talented co-hosts.
I think tonight we're playing for 30 minutes, and I can remember when 30 minutes was a tough set list to fill out, and we usually had to throw some covers in there. And now we're playing 30 minutes, and we're leaving a couple of songs that we really want to play off. So that definitely changes. I think, I still think you got to stay true to the songs that mean a lot to you. Maybe they're not the singles, or maybe they're not the one that everybody goes to. But I think just as a writer and as an artist, you got to kind of play those songs that mean a lot to you, and kind of show the fans a little bit more than just what the radio might be playing.
I said earlier that kind of one of my rules of thumb is the more people in the audience, the less I talk. So the smaller the audience, the more I kind of try to interact with them. Because I'm able to. But when you have an audience like we have here tonight, there's not really going to be an opportunity to kind of sit there and connect with everybody. So I'm just going to keep it about the music and kind of try to keep the energy level up and just have fun, because that's what people are here for tonight. So
energy of the crowd, the feeling that people are out there that have never been to Nashville, never been to CMA Fest. From all over the world, and that it's just invigorating. It's an invigorating energy. So for me, even having done it a lot of times, tonight will feel unlike any other time we've done it. I already know that.
There's nothing quite like it. But to be in this stadium, which is only my second time, and have the fans there, and I love the guy in the nosebleed section. They were just as rowdy as the ones up here. So that's what I like to do. I like to get close to them and look them in the eye. And I looked a lot of them in the eye tonight, and a lot of them were so young. But that's a good thing. They buy records longer, young ones. But I really loved it. It's a warm, wonderful feeling, and I guess that's the best part about being a performer. The best. Of course, I've had not so best too sometimes. So that's how to handle it.
I have fond memories of what we used to call fanfare when it was over at the fairgrounds. It was a lot smaller, but Music Row had its own charm. Nashville as a city was a lot smaller. I think over the last 20 years at least, we've seen country music continue to evolve into more of a world format. I think it's, I saw some of the numbers that were posted earlier this year talking about what big impact we're having into the European continent and Australia too. So I think the things that the CMA has done, the festival, all of it works in conjunction. I think our format's grown. I think the talent is unbelievable, the musicianship, the records that are being made in this town. And to have an event like this that allows all the fans to come to town, there's no other format that does this. It's pretty freaking cool.
This is a genre of music that's unlike anything I've ever experienced. It's a grateful artist base that's grateful for the people that give us the opportunity to do what we do. Whether it's at the fairgrounds or whether it's a bigger place, or I don't know that it ever really mattered. I think it's just all those people out there that buy a ticket to come and do this, whether they stand in line to get to somebody's autograph or they go to a show or whatever, they're just here because they like what we do, and it feels good to let them know they're appreciated, not be standoffish and not be, that way. So I've always enjoyed it. This is about my 40th year of doing anything connected with whatever they call it. I don't even know anymore, but it's still the same thing. It's just a bunch of people that love what everybody does, and man, it's great for everybody to get to hang and just sitting backstage and running into so-and-so and running into so-and-so. It's just, you don't ever get to see them very often. So, grateful. I'm grateful for the friendships, more so than the records and the hits and all those things, just the people I've met, and I wouldn't trade, I'd trade all the success for the gift of knowing all these people this whole stretch.
Jelly's one of my favorite people to hang out with. You guys may not look at me and realize this, but I have a pretty jaded past as well. I've always said there was a time in my life where I had to make a decision, and that decision was to either chase this dream professionally with a good mindset. There's a few mistakes that I made in my life. There's a few decisions that I made in my life where I could have wound up here, or I very well could have wound up in jail. And, I used to work at the prison system in Texas, so I have a very, very thick background on incarceration. Jelly did time. We've talked about that. We struggle with a lot of the same pressures of, we put so much pressure on ourselves to be the best husband, for me to try to be the best father, for our guys to try to be the best leader, to be the best performer, to have it turned on when I walk in here with you guys. And it's almost like a blessing and a curse because we put so much on ourselves. And I relate to him and he relates to me, and we're so opposite. You got the cowboy hat and the face tattoos. I think that it's just a very opposites attract kind of thing, and respect is mutual and real recognizes real. So absolutely, we've talked about working together. I can't reveal all the surprises, but there's definitely been some songs that we've sat and listened to where they speak to him as much as they speak to me. So you'll see something from us very soon.
Oh goodness, there's so many people I'm rooting for. I'm rooting for Jelly Roll. I'm rooting for Hardy. Megan Maroney, she's awesome. Kaylee Hammock, she's awesome. There's so many guys coming up that are Warren Treaty, they're awesome. There's so many people I'm watching, and I try to put on shows and everything just because I love them so much, and I think they're on their way to bigger and better things.
Oh goodness, that's a great question. Jared Leto's incredible, right? What's the name of his band? I'm going to blow it. So somebody bail me out. 30 Seconds to Mars. Man, incredible. Obviously, Johnny Depp, he shreds. I'd like to get Johnny Depp to play on a record, even if I didn't say Johnny Depp played on it, just for me to know that Johnny Depp was playing the guitar on my record. So that's my formal invitation, Johnny Depp. If you want to get involved in my next album, or if you want to come play at the Grand Ole Opry with me and The Rock, we can set it up too. I'm lying, I can't set that up, but I could try. It'd be great.
So I know what those guys are going through, and especially Seaforth. I love those dudes to death, and I think they make great music. And then there's a ton of new artists out that people did that for me. It's Luke, Chase Rice, Cadillac 3, Kip Moore. Those were guys that helped me out along the way. And I mean, it's true. I know a lot of people say it, but country music's we're a family. So. You're always kind of helping everybody you can.
Those two, I think, when you look at Lainey and what she's doing for country music, I mean, I think Lainey is I think she's just so great for country music, and I've been a fan of Lauren Elena. I mean, she has one of the best voices in the world, and so I think we get caught up. My biggest thing is it's a fun song for them. Country Girl Shake It For Me was a fun song for me. It was a fun song for the country girls out there that were shaking it. And their song is a fun song for girls that got a little something to shake. And I think we've all seen the socials light up about Lainey and her having, I think the fact that they're both having fun being who they are as artists, and they wrote a song that's fun. I think country music will always be about the real songs, the relatable songs, the songs that stir your heart, your but then there's also got to be a fun aspect of country music too. I mean, and that's what's so beautiful about when they could go for a song like that, and it can be girls' turns to say that stuff. It's awesome. I'm very flattered to be a part of it, and now I'm gonna never mind.
Stretch. Well, I just had a really neat conversation with a young band called King Calloway, and my old friend Robert Deaton, I think his son's in the band, and you know they're at that point where they've been doing it for a long time and struggled and whatnot, trying to hit the home run. And I said, man, it's going to come when it comes, and there's nothing you can do about it.
I've always kind of considered myself wise beyond my years, and I don't say that arrogantly, but I grew up around, you know, my parents and my grandparents and people that were older than me, and I was always attracted to those older people because even when I was younger, I would rather sit around a table and listen to old timers tell their stories rather than be outside playing with people my own age, because it was just always so interesting and so fascinating. And so I feel like I grew up a lot mentally just from being around people like that. So with that said, when it came to music, I always kind of had this sense of what was timeless, and I've had to learn as I've gone along, you know, what those elements really are. And I've really kind of, you know, been drawn to songs that have a really recognizable melody, that showcase my voice in the right way. I've always said that real singers singing real songs and real musicians playing real instruments will never go out of style. And I'm finding out here 20 years later, since my signature song, that is holding true. And so all of those things that I always believed back then, I'm now seeing come to fruition. And so that's kind of cool to me. And, you know, and there's that element too of, like, you know, yes, all of that is true, but you also have to kind of think about how do you stay relevant as the music and as the industry continues to change and evolve. So there's an element of that too that I won't get into, but but yeah, you kind of have to, you know, walk that line like Johnny Cash would say.
Just keep it real. Don't try to fit into a mold. Just be who you are and just keep it real. That's what people gravitate towards, is things they can relate to. And so it's kind of a lame answer, but really, yeah, don't be something you're not.
I mean, there's no substitute for getting your hands in the dirt, getting to know people, getting into the community. I think no matter what you've done in Australia, none of it really matters when you get here. I found that out really quick, that it's like a big line at the checkout. And when you get here, you just stand at the back of the line. It doesn't really matter what you're bringing to town. You just kind of stand at the back of the line and wait for your turn. So I think getting here and getting to know people, getting to know the community and becoming a part of it is key.
We came in and started from scratch and tried to grow it. And I didn't just come over here and say, you know, I'm Hootie, you have to play my record. You know, and I think that was big for us. And I think I got lucky having Mike Dungan being the president of my label and believing in me the way he did. You know, he was going to work as hard as he could, and I think just doing that from the grassroots up really helped us a lot.
Early on, I experienced a lot of guilt for being successful. I grew up in a very Christian family, and we were taught to do things, especially around the holidays. It's always something that my family always did with church. And as I kind of came up through the ranks, you know, I gave a lot of vehicles away. You know, it's when you don't have anything and all of a sudden you've got all these things and you feel like a lot of people around you are working just as hard, if not harder than you are. Sometimes you have to find ways to rationalize it in your mind. And I realize how fortunate that I am. I mean, there are times that if I went out to a songwriter's night, I might not have the money to buy a beer.
It's going to come when it comes, and there's nothing you can do about it. You know, there was never anything I could do about it. I came here making records starting in the early 80s and struggled for a long time, and it was a long time before I cracked the code, and I cracked the code for a while, and it was fun. And then I knew it was coming, but I knew they were going to quit playing my records. I tell everybody, I say, hell, they quit playing Elvis, they're going to quit playing you. You know, and that's just the way it is, and you got to look at it with some sense of practicality, you know, and I always have. I'm a common sense guy, you know, and pretty easy with all of it. You know, success or failure. What I realized early on, I didn't control either one of them. You know, I did what I did, and I turned it loose. And when you turn it loose, it's out of your hands. And whether 100 million people buy your records or 100 people buy your records, none of the notes changed.
Be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for all things country music here at The Nash News.